Castles on the ocean, castles outside the city, flowers and greenery everywhere, great high-speed rail and fancy hotels, beautiful countrysides and a big city. Plus, they have a lot of pubs too. This is Ireland, and I'm going on a journey to tour this scenic area, so stay tuned. Hi everyone, I'm Scott. I'm an air traffic controller by day and a travel enthusiast year-round. I love premium travel, and when possible, I love to leverage my credit card benefits for exciting trips, so come along for the journey with me. This great adventure starts in the heart of Dublin on a very quiet Sunday morning. So quiet, there's literally no one around. My wife and I are taking a 15-minute walk from our hotel to Parnell Square North, where our tour bus will take us to Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is part of the United Kingdom, so we're actually headed to another country today. A passport is not required crossing the border between Ireland and Northern Ireland. This bus ride will set the stage for what we will see a lot of the next several days. Farms, lots of animals grazing the lands, lots of green fields, and historic castles too. This is the Dunluce Castle, our first stop, about 3 hours into our tour. This is a medieval castle built in the 13th century. It was used in the Irish fort for Vikings and Christians, and very recently, it was used to film the TV show The Game of Thrones. From here, a short ride to the east takes us to the Giant's Causeway, Northern Ireland's only UNESCO World Heritage Site. The geology of this place is one of a kind. The causeway is made up of over 40,000 columns of basalt rock. Many people enjoy climbing the columns to enjoy the scenic views of the inner seas. I also climbed the columns, but I had to be careful recording this, especially on the way down. The steps can be quite slippery. The area is also rich in vegetation, and the grounds are full of snails and slugs. I had 2 hours to explore the Giant's Causeway. No food was provided on the tour, but I had the opportunity to have a Northern Ireland lunch at the hotel on site. My wife got the quiche, and I could not resist getting a piece of salmon. After lunch, I walked back to get to the tour bus. The next stop was past the northernmost point of Northern Ireland, Benbane Head, and a stop at the viewing point near the town of Glenstaggy. From here, it was time to depart the northern coast and head inland to the Dark Hedges. Why is this site so popular? It was also used in the show The Game of Thrones. The trees were also used in the Transformers movie The Last Knight. Today, it is a popular walking path for tourists. Leaving the Dark Hedges, the tour returns to city life in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Their inner city is walkable with shopping and pubs. Belfast had difficult times in the late 1960s and 1990s known as the Troubles. This hotel, Hotel Europa, suffered as many as 36 bomb attacks during these times. Today, it stands tall as a 4-star hotel. After a short stay in Belfast, it's time to return to Dublin after a long day of sightseeing. It is time to return to the hotel as I have another long and fun journey tomorrow. It's about 7 a.m. at the Dublin-Houston train station, and it's a great day to travel by train. I'm going to the city of Cork in the southern part of Ireland. My wife and I bought train tickets in the first-class cabin. The price difference was not much more than coach, and it's a less crowded cabin. These trains are fast, going as much as 200 kilometers per hour or 125 miles per hour, and it allowed me to record some great views along the way too. After I got on board and arrived at my seat, I was very happy to see they had electric outlets. The first-class cabin has seats facing each other in a 1-2 configuration. First class was a good choice as my wife and I booked seats on the one side, so we had our own table for the trip. It's time to depart Dublin for this fantastic train ride. For the next 2.5 hours, there was amazing scenery to be seen. Check it out. As the train pulls into the Cork Kent train station, it's time to leave the train and the crowds of the train station. I walked out into the city of Cork, and the first stop was to get breakfast. I stopped at the Centra, which is like a convenience store, and ordered an Irish breakfast. From here, I went to do some sightseeing on the hop-on, hop-off tour bus that is offered in Cork. From the River Lee, the churches, to a historic jailhouse, this bus tour gives great highlights of what Cork has to offer, especially on a nice day like today. At the end of the tour, I got in a taxi and went to the hotel, the Hayfield Manor. I will review this hotel in my next video, which you'll get to see soon. For now, it's time to get some rest for tomorrow's big day. My next day in Ireland takes me to the famous Blarney village and home of the 12th century built Blarney Castle. The tour begins at the Blarney Square in the middle of the village. After taking in a short walk of the village and passing by the biggest Irish shop in the world, I head into the Blarney Castle Park. The park is rich in vegetation, scenery, and history too. The castle's lookout tower next to it was likely used as a way to see if invaders were coming. The castle and the tower was a strategic military building built of limestone rock. The castle itself is known for the Blarney Stone at the top. The tradition that has been around for several centuries is said kissing the stone gives a person eloquence and persuasiveness. After visiting the stone and the castle, I make my way down the narrow stairs and visit the Poison Garden. The Blarney Castle grounds are not only known for its plants, they're also known for its poisonous plants. Some are covered in cages, and others might bite. While the plants are poisonous and the grounds are kept well, I think it's best to leave here and move on to our next site on the grounds. The Blarney House was built in 1874. It is occupied today by the Colthrust family. Guided tours of the home are given during the summer months. From here, the rest of the tour was exploring the rich vegetation, waterfalls, and flowers of the Blarney Castle grounds. As I exit the park, it is time to head out to lunch before heading back to Dublin. My wife and I stopped at this traditional Irish pub in the town's village. I ordered the gluten-free chicken and smoked bacon sandwich. My wife ordered the Irish beef stew. Both were 10 out of 10. I returned to the Hayfield Manor to pick up the bags and get a taxi back to the Cork Kent train station for a late afternoon departure back to Dublin. I had a great time in Cork. As I said goodbye to Cork and board the train, it would give me one last opportunity to enjoy the Irish countryside on the 2.5-hour ride back to Dublin. Tomorrow is my last day in Ireland. That will be spent in the heart of the city of Dublin. As the train arrives back at Euston Station, it is time to walk out, get a taxi, and get ready for one more day in Ireland. Dublin, Ireland, the biggest city in Ireland. Today the weather's good and people are out and about. My wife and I took a walk down Grafton Street, which is full of shops and dining. Just to the east of Grafton Street is St. Anne's Church. Built in 1707, it was built at a time when suburbs were being built around the area. The Book of Kells in Trinity College is another popular site. I was unable to see the Book of Kells as it was closed this day. Instead, I got to enjoy the unique buildings and streets of Dublin. The brick roads lead to many of these Irish pubs and bars. They are really everywhere you walk. Okay, not McDonald's, although it appeared to be jam-packed in there. With that said, the pubs are popular, and whiskey bars too. It's time to walk back to the hotel and get ready for the return flight back to the United States. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it by hitting the thumbs up button. Please subscribe to my channel too. It's free, and I'm always very grateful for your support. In my next video, I'm going to review the Hayfield Manor Hotel in Cork. Also, stay tuned for the return flight on JetBlue in a future video. Find out how I booked this whole trip and the credit card benefits I took advantage of. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and for now, so long.